All right, guys, welcome to another Shed Suite training video. And I'm excited. In this video, we're going to be telling you how to set up webhooks, Shed Suite webhooks. So this video might get a little bit long. So if you need to, you can watch it through, come back and pause it at times where you need to implement something that we talk about here. So we're going to go over how to set up a payload that's going from Shed Suite to Zapier and onto Google Sheets, just as an example of how you could use webhook payloads. And our support article tells you a lot more about how payloads work and what they could be used for and how webhooks actually work. So let's jump into it. We're going to go down into the configuration menu under settings. If you don't see webhook settings right now, you can send an email to support@shedsuite.com requesting that we turn those on. We can enable webhooks for your organization. So once they're enabled, you can see them here. We're going to work with the customer order delivered. So first of all, I want to open up this customer order delivered, and I am going to first of all look at the example payload of this webhook. So I'm going to copy this using this little link here. So copy to clipboard. The next thing I want to do is set up a Google Sheet to receive this information. So I'm just going to simply paste all this information in here. And then the next thing I need to do is just kind of clean this up a little bit so that I can create header columns for the payload. So we know that add-ons don't really go into Google Sheets very well because there's multiple add-ons. And so for this demo, I'm just going to remove these rows. And then from here, I'm going to select all the rows. And what I want to do is I want to split these into two different columns. So you can do that by going into data and split text to columns. And it asks you how you want to separate. And I want to separate by space. And so that's going to just basically take the data away from these field names. And I don't really want this data. This is just kind of test data right here. So I want to grab all of these fields. And so I'm just going to copy them. I'm going to Control C to copy. And then what I'm going to do is just delete all that. And I'm going to go ahead and delete all this as well to just clean this all up. And then I'm going to paste these fields in a transposed fashion across the top of the sheet. So I'm going to go paste special. And I'm going to paste transposed. So now I've got the data across the top of the sheet. And after I have the fields in the sheet that I want the fields in, so we've got this Google Sheet with the right fields in it, then I'm going to go over to Zapier and create my Zap. So I'm logged in here. I can go ahead and click Create, New Zap. And we're going to start with the trigger being a webhook by Zapier. So we're just going to click webhooks by Zapier. We are going to catch the raw hook and click continue. And this is where Zapier will give us a URL that we can use in Shed Suite. So we can copy this URL, come back to Shed Suite. We would then give our Zap or our webhook a name, put the email in that you want the emails to go to where the webhook fails. This access token is not something you will use with Zapier, so you can just put in 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're building your own webhooks, you can read this documentation here and you'd be able to provide an access token. You want to activate the webhook, and then you want to paste in the webhook URL and then click save. Once the changes are saved, you'll see a little success message here, and you can just close this down. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trigger a webhook event by doing a delivery so that we can get that payload inside Zapier. So I'm going to open up the driver app, go to an order that is ready to get delivered. So we're going to go ahead and deliver this building here. So we're just going to go ahead and pop in a couple photos of just some stock photos, whatever. And I'm not sure why that didn't work. Let's try that again. Just do something like that. There we go. And then put in some mileage. we're just going to fill this delivery out like normal, do a signature, and we're just going to do it as cache for this demo. So we're just going to submit this delivery. We're trying to trigger a webhook event that is customer order delivered. So for this Steven demo. So once that delivery is processed, then the webhook payload will send that information over to this endpoint, this URL that we gave Shed Suite, so that we can then tell Zapier where we want that data to go. Okay, so now that this order is processed, then we can go back over here to Zapier and we'll just test the trigger. And we'll say, okay, we got a payload. Here we go. This is the information that we have. We can go ahead and continue on. Looks like the raw body. Okay, I made a mistake. I don't want to do the raw hook. I want to just catch hook. Okay, so just catch hook, not a raw hook. And we need to process another delivery. So we're going to do this one. Okay, sorry about that, but that's good to note. We definitely want to just catch hook, don't catch raw hook, so that it's going to have the fields outlined that we need in the delivery. So once this delivery is processed, we'll be able to check Zapier for the fields. Now we can look back in Zapier. We see the fields that came in. So here are all the fields. Perfect, looks great. We can continue and we can say, okay, we want to send this information to a Google Sheet. And we're going to say, create a spreadsheet row. That's what we want to create on this spreadsheet. So it's going to ask you to authenticate your Google account. You can go ahead and do that. Then you're going to choose your Google Drive. You're then going to choose the spreadsheet that you want to work with. And this ABC Shed Code Deliveries powered by Shed Suite Webhooks, we're going to choose that one. And the worksheet that we want to use, and that's just sheet 1. Okay, so now we have these fields. So we have, let's refresh the fields. We got all these fields here. So then we can just go through these fields and map the fields to the spreadsheet. So in this amount collected, you would just search for amount collected. Okay, let's just see if there's not a value in the payload, then that particular payload might not have that value because each payload is dynamic. So you just move on to the next one. Look for balance. Oh, wrong field. I need to look for it here. Okay, perfect. So I've got balance and I've got base price. Oh, again, searching in the wrong field. Base price and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these all out and then I'll come back once they're all filled out. All right, I've got all the fields mapped up here, got them entered in. So now we're going to go ahead and click continue. And it's going to ask us if we want to test it. So we're just going to test the action. It's then going to grab this payload. It is going to push that information to our Google Sheet. And then we can check the Google Sheet and see if we've got the information added over here. And it looks like we did. If there's anything that's not mapped correctly, you can come over here and you can modify the rows and make sure that it's all mapping over there correctly. And then you can go ahead and publish this. And then that means that every time a delivery happens in Shed Suite, it creates a new row in this spreadsheet with all of this information. So that's how you would use it in Zapier and how you would create a Zap to utilize webhooks. And then you can set that up for all these different events here. And you can obviously build your own tools to send this information to your own apps or other things, but that's just a quick overview. I know it's a little bit longer and a little bit more technical, but we hope that this helps you kind of understand the power and how you could use webhooks to streamline some of your processes and just get more automated in your business processes. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.